be our next speaker.
Okay. Let me share my screen. Share. Okay. Do you see my slide and can you hear me?
Yep, I can see you, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I'll go. I'll try to stay on time. So good morning, everyone. So my name is Just Rimbaud. I'm a research fellow at Center for Advanced Spatial Analysis at University College London. And I will present a model of urban evolution based on innovation diffusion. So it's quite different from other stuff we see in our life because it's closer to social science than most of the stuff. So what do I mean by urban system? Urban systems are cities and what you find inside cities, and it can include subsystems such as transportation system and so on. So if you look at the literature, there's already actually a large stream of research linking artificial life studies with urban systems. And this is an example here. You can see an example of a citation networks analysis of this kind of rock, which you can find in this preprint. And it ranges from, for example, cellular automata for urban growth, agent-based model of activities inside cities, social cultural studies, and more art science stuff such as traffic flow prediction and so on. Another important point is that you have interesting transfer of concepts from artificial life to urban studies. For example, urban morphogenesis is linking form and function in a dynamic way. Then also in architecture and urbanism, all the thing with bio-inspired design. Also urban ecology can be linked to artificial life. And the concept of autopoiesis, since, for example, defining the boundary of an urban system is kind of an open question. So within that stream of research, an interesting point is the idea of urban evolution. And urban evolution will be an extension of cultural or social evolution, which is already itself an extension of biological evolution. So in this urban evolution, we would be at another level, and what would evolve are cities, which would be agents, and cities would have a proper genome and a proper evolutionary dynamics. So an example of such an approach is the evolutionary urban theory proposed by Denis Pumin, which considers cities as systems within system of cities, with this typical three scale that you see here, the macroscopic scale, mesoscopic scale, and a microscopic scale, which are actors composing the city. And on the right are two examples of simulation models of urban evolution based on this theory. Another theoretical component linking urban system with artificial life is the concept of innovation diffusion. So as you know, it's a crucial process in evolutionary systems. And for example, in the study of open-ended evolution. Reciprocally, we can use artificial society to study the dynamics of innovation itself, so more in studies of technological innovation, for example. Agent-based model to study technological innovation. And besides this, in geography, it's known for a long time, since actually Egerstrand, this is a Swedish geographer back in '68, that innovation diffuses hierarchically in system of cities. And it was recently suggested that this is a potential explanation for urban scaling law. So the diffusion of innovation also has an important place in the study of urban systems. So therefore, I propose to use innovation diffusion as a privileged entry to understand urban evolution. So what is the purpose and the objective of this work? When you look in the geographical literature of, on urban evolution, most of the proposed things are actually more linked to dynamics of urban system, but do not include essential process of evolution. So you don't have this essential analogy with a transmission and transformation process. And also there are no model with an explicit urban genome, which should really be an urban evolution. So that's why there is a need for simple model at this scale of system of cities. So my research objective is to describe and systematically explore an urban evolution model based on innovation diffusion for urban dynamics at the macroscopic scale. So I will detail a bit more the rationale between this model. So the agents, so it's kind of an agent-based model, and the agents are the cities. So they are fixed, but they are autonomous. And we had this microscopic scale, which can be from the regional to the continental scale. And also it's on a very long-term scale, like a century. Then we simplify a lot the multidimensionality of an urban system by considering only the population considering the size of cities. And we also consider a genome. So the urban genome will be the proportion of adoptions of different innovation. So this could be, so here it's abstract, but this can be social or technological innovation. For example, if it's a transportation system, you can switch from a horse to cars, and you have 50% of this in one city and 20% in another. And so this proportion will be the urban genome for each city. And here also, to simplify, we have a single dimension of innovation. Then actually we extend and we adapt this model, which was proposed in 2011 by Jean-Marc Favreau and Denis Pumin, which postulate that the attractivity of cities, this attractivity which will be due to one level of innovation, so more innovative cities, will drive the population growth through the migration between cities. So people move between cities and people will go to more innovative cities, more interesting cities. So it's also linked to the literature on scaling law and so on. And this is done through a spatial interaction model. And then you also have a component where innovation will diffuse between cities through another spatial interaction model. So we actually couple two spatial interaction models. And then to have the other ingredient of evolution, we have mutation in cities where new innovation can appear. Okay, I will sketch briefly how it works with figures. So this is an example where you have 4 cities in space. So the size of the circle is the population, and you have your genome here. So all these small cities have only one innovation, and the city one are already the red one and the green one. So at the next step, it's an iterative model, so you iterate dynamically in time. So at the next step, you will first diffuse the innovations. You will see this green one diffuse from city one to others, and then you have a mixed genome also in other cities. Then you will grow the population of cities, so you change the population through. So these arrows represent spatial interaction potential or flows, if you want, which will influence the size of cities. And this is linked to size and to innovativity. And then the last step is the mutation. So here in this example, we have city one, which had the mutation, and you see this blue innovation that was introduced in the genome as a mutation. So this is a formalization of it. I won't detail every formula, but the idea is you have got your population, you've got your genome. So C is the index of innovations. An important component is that each innovation has its own utility. So first you do this crossover for this spatial interaction model. And the idea is you diffuse according to the share of population adopting this innovation, and that more useful innovation will diffuse more broadly. So that's why you have this exponent. Then the second step is a spatial interaction model in itself. So it works this way with this potential, and the potential here is a spatial interaction component with the function of population and distance. And here it's a Cobb-Douglas for attractivity depending on the innovativity. And the last step is mutation. So mutation, you've got a global propensity to innovate, which is with beta. And then propensity to innovate will be a scaling law of the city size according to this hierarchy parameter. And then the new utility of innovation is randomly distributed, showing either a normal or log normal distribution with the current average utility, and where you can fix the parameters, the standard deviation. Okay, then how to describe trajectory and outcomes of this model. So this is a proposed indicator. We look at the diversity, so it's kind of average Herfindahl index of how are different innovation distributed in space and over cities. Then it's also interesting to look at the global, so average global utility. So did this innovation pattern was globally useful or not? Another indicator is how innovative are cities, so the number of innovation in total. And finally, you can also summarize population trajectories of cities. So there are a lot of indicators for this, but here we just use the final hierarchy of city size. So is the system equal in terms of city size or not? In this work, we only apply the system to synthetic configurations. So this way, we have conclusions that are kind of independent of geographical contingencies. So we showed in this paper that it can actually play a lot the particular geographical situation in the outcome of simulation model. And we have just a simple synthetic system with a zip flow for city size at the initial time, 30 cities, so it's kind of regional urban system, and 50 time steps. Okay, so this is a summary of all the model parameters. So the first rows are fixed. So these are the meta parameters for the synthetic configuration, and these are fixed. And the last rows are the parameter we change in the experiment. So you've got this parameter linked to crossovers for the two spatial interactions, the distance, gravity range, the distance, the span of gravity, the span of innovation diffusion, and then innovation rate, innovation hierarchy, the standard deviation of innovation, and the penetration rate of new innovation. Okay, so the model is implemented in Scala, and since it has quite a relatively large parameter space, we integrate it into the OpenMOL software. So OpenMOL is an open source software to explore and validate simulation model. And so you can embed any type of model in any language in it. Then you have seamless access to any HPC, so high performance computing resource. And it also provides expression, sensitivity analysis, and optimization and validation algorithm. So we use this software to do the numerical experiments. Okay, so the first brief experiment, there is a stochastic component first in the initial distribution of cities and also in the mutations. So we need to explore if there is some kind of statistical consistency in indicators. So we do a Latin hypercube sampling of 100 parameter points, and we draw a lot of repetition for each, so 1,000. So for this, through this, we estimate quite high Sharpe ratio. So the minimum is 1.7, so it's already consistent even for the minimum for all indicators and all parameters. And if we look at this relative distance, so the values of indicators compared to the standard deviations, also these are larger than 1 for everything. So having a much lower number of repetitions, so we can explore a broader part of the parameter space is fine. And 50 repetition is already defined according to the value we obtain.
Just to let you know, you'll have about 5 minutes to wrap it up. So.
Okay, thank you. So we do a simple experiment. So it's a grid experiment. And here the results I show are fixed at this value for the hierarchy 1 and this value for the standard deviation. So if we look at the diversity, for example, we find that it always increases with the interaction span between cities. So cities, system of cities which are more integrated in terms of population growth will be more diverse, but it decreases. So this is a color parameter here, the DI. It decreases with innovation. So if innovation diffuse more, the system will be less diverse. And one interesting thing is this plateau here, kind of. Which appears for high innovation rates. Then when we look at innovation and hierarchy, these are less interesting indicators, and in this experiment they are quite correlated. And globally it's less sensitive to all parameters, but we can see, for example, that system with more interaction and diffusion will be in the end less unequal and innovate more. And finally, the more interesting preview is utility, the global utility. So for low innovative rates of beta 0, we've got this piecewise behavior still growing and no impact of innovation distance. But when we go to very innovative systems, so beta 0.5, there is this maximum which emerges here as a function of interaction span. So it's very interesting because it means that if you globalize the system, it won't be the optimum. The optimum will be at an intermediate scale of interaction between cities. And it could correspond to the emergence of a kind of regional innovation cluster, which are more optimal than a globally integrated system. Okay, we skip that, but if you look at the global correlation on the whole expression, it's kind of different to the particular case we looked before. But still, the indicators are kind of correlated because you have 91 variants on the first two components. Finally, the last experiment is an optimization. We use an NSGA2 genetic algorithm to try to simultaneously optimize utility and diversity, which are opposite. And we obtain this kind of Pareto front where we have three regimes. So these are free compromise. And for example, you have an intermediate compromise in the middle, which corresponds to a very low level of innovation diffusion. So you could use this if you wanted to design policies, for example, for innovation in the urban systems. Okay, quickly the discussion. Empirical implication of this work. I think the most interesting result is the idea that the global integration of cities is not necessarily optimal. So this idea of modularity in the complex systems. And then it's also a demonstration that you can simulate the urban evolution process using an explicit urban genome. So there is a lot of possible future work and extension, including multidimensional urban genome to capture the multidimensionality of urban dynamics. The application to real system of cities is kind of difficult. We did it, but with a more simpler model in this paper. And the idea is how you couple proxy data for innovation with city data and so on. So it's a very complicated question. And then we can also think at processes at over scale, for example, the micro scale of inventors and firms, and then how these scale link together and so on, so toward multi-scale models. So just to conclude, I presented a simple model of urban evolution, which capture already kind of complex dynamic at the macroscopic scale through the diffusion of innovation. And it's indeed an artificial life approach to a simulation of urban system. And this is the idea of cities as they could be. We can use this kind of model to explore possible urban futures. So everything is on GitHub, the code and results, and also the simulation data is on the Dataverse. And I must acknowledge the European Grid Infrastructure and the UCRIC Daphne and the Urban Dynamics Lab PSRC for funding. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you so much. I see there were some questions in the chat, so if we can.
How can I see the chat?
So we can answer one briefly, and then we'll move on to the next talk.
Could you give some example of
Sure. So here, we'll just read the first question. So we had a question, could you give some examples of what can be modeled as an innovation, rent price, something else?
Yeah. So what I mean by innovation here is very broad, and it includes technological innovation. So it's patents, new computers, new phones, new. But it can be also social innovation. So a new way to have social organization of this kind of stuff, or a new way of governance is a social innovation. And then more concretely in cities, which have a stronger influence, will be technological innovation with influence infrastructure. For example, transportation means when subway was invented, then it changes totally the faces of cities. So, but broadly, it can be anything. And on one price, on one market, and not an economist, but I think maybe some regulation of front press can be considered. So way of regulating and so on can be considered as innovation. Okay, do you have time for the second question? Or?
I think we actually have to move on to the next talk, but
okay.
what you can do is go check out the chat and maybe answer the question in chat. So thank you. Okay, so our next talk is going